For, all right, maybe 20 hours. Yes, it was a big weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We will be talking about Old City Pirate Fest, number 5. It's in the can, done, and successful. So, let's always do what we're supposed to do at the beginning. How do you find us? YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube. Go to YouTube. Do that little QR code right there. It'll take you right to us. And once you're there, hit the like, hit the bell, and then you'll always get everything you need so that you'll be ready for our show every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So do that and be a part of our crew, the Captain's Quarters Podcast crew. We'd love to have you. Cheers to you. On top of that, I'm drinking a different rum tonight, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until just a little while from now. Our guest tonight is going to help me with it, and we're going to talk about a few other things too. But for now, it's time for 8 Bells. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have several different celebrities tonight for 8 Bells. Let's see if I can bring them up so I can read them too. Where is that? There it is, right there. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted there. And so the first one is Lisa Loring. I don't know if I really have to tell anybody who that is, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the original Wednesday from the Addams Family. She was only 64 years old. She died just 2 days ago. So, how appropriate is it we're now watching the new series called Wednesday, and it's really well worth watching. I've enjoyed it. There's Barrett Strong, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Barrett Strong, for any of you that may want to know, according to my notes here on the other screen, he was a singer and songwriter. He died at the age of 81. And with great sadness, he was one of the Motown greats. And he died January 29th. The voice behind the Motown Records' first hit, the iconic Money. That's what I want. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's 2. We have 3 more. Dean Daughtry was an American musician. He was a keyboard player with the Classics 5 after Joe Wilson departed. They had several hits in 1968, number 46 on the charts in the UK, and number 1 with the hit Spooky. He was co-founder of the Atlanta Rhythm Section in 1979 and was their sole constant member until retiring in 2020. How about Gary Charles Peters, an American professional baseball player? He was a Major League Baseball pitcher who played on 2 Major League teams for 14 seasons from 1959 to 1972. He was one of the best hitting pitchers of his era. And Anne Wershing, an American actress. Many of you probably recognize her. She made herself famous on shows like Star Trek, The Vampire Diaries, and there was a third one. I don't remember what it was. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are all people that have some measure of input into our lives over these years. Some of you may remember some may remember all. But we give them our honor, our respect. For 8 Bells, Mr. Davey. Cheers. Respect. Thank you, Mr. Davey. Very good. Of course, we always are talking about the quote of the week, and this week, to reach a port, we must sail. Sail, not tie at anchor. Sail, not drift. That would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It makes very good sense. Do not tie off at anchor and do not drift. Set a sail, set a course. Very good. And our quote of the week. Now, Valentine's Day is coming up in 14 days, 2 weeks. So, guys, do you plan something ahead of time or do you just wing it? Same with the ladies. Ladies, do you plan something or do you just wing it? Let's hear what you all have to say, and the answers to that will determine which ones of us will be in the doghouse and which ones won't. So, that'll be something we're talking about later on in the show. On that note, Crew Adventures, ladies and gentlemen. We just finished Old City Pirate Festival this past weekend. We're going to talk about it. So go ahead and just throw that off the line. We don't need that there. But before we talk about Old City Pirate Festival, let's give our good friends at the Seawolf Privateers a good plug. Do you have something of their murder mystery coming up there? They are doing Who Killed Jolly Roger on February 11th and 12th. That's only 2 weeks away also. If you want to be a part of that, there's all the information you need to buy tickets. Tickets are almost gone. It's looking to be a great, great evening. Davey and I are both in the play with them, and we both have sat and talked privately. We love the play. It's really kind of cool. So, be watching. Come on down and let's figure out who killed Jolly Roger. Oh, and by the way, Davey Longwood is Jolly Roger, and he gets killed in the second scene, I think. Is it the second scene or the third? Third, all right. So there's only 4 scenes, so I guess he gets to play almost three quarters of it. That's good. But it's really good. The captain of the Seawolf Privateers is there. Scott Erklands, who owns the pirate store, is one of the other captains. Katie, first mate of the Seawolf Privateers, and one of their crewmates. And Davey, do you remember her name? I forget her name.
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie, there you go. So, 5 great pirates in that show. And then, of course, Captain Mayhem comes in and does everything he can to figure out who the murderer is. So you got to come and try it out. There'll be raffles. There'll be a dinner. There'll be fun. There'll be music. Yes, even those pirates are going to sing a little bit. So come on out, ladies and gentlemen. February 11th at 5 p.m., February 12th at noon, I believe it is. And it would be doors open at noon on the 12th, yep. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 2 fun-filled days of fun with Who Killed Jolly Roger. I have to watch myself. I keep wanting to throw in Roger Rabbit in there. So there you have it. But let's talk about Old City Pirate Festival. It was this past weekend, ladies and gentlemen, and boy, did we have some fun. The weather actually cooperated with us in a most positive way. It was a bit chilly there on Friday night. It was cold on Saturday night, but all of a sudden the temperature changed even during the nighttime. By 6 o'clock the next morning, me sleeping in the tent there on the property, it was warm. So, let's start with Friday night. We had a great band, Cool Breeze, with Reuben Morgan and his buddies. We had Saturday night, Tom Mason and the Blue Buccaneers, and our particular favorites also, Mark Miller and Rusty Cutlass, the Disney Pirate Band. It's always nice to have them around. And both Rusty Cutlass and or Tom Mason have played at all of our pirate festivals. We did it in 17, 18, 19, and 20. Took a break. Everybody knows why. We won't talk about it. But once that break happened, we got it back with a vengeance. And we did well. Financially, the entire event operated in the black. That much I can say now. But until we finish off a couple other payments and get everything taken care of, I don't want to give the exact amount because I don't want it to look slighted in any way. But it did finish in the black, and it did very well, and our charities will be getting a little bit of something from us during this year. All right. So, Davey, what have you got to show us for Old City Pirate Festival? rousing so much. If you can't get an idea by all the pictures we have there, it was a rousing good time. The food was great too. Seafood paella or chicken and ham paella with green salad, Spanish beans that were some of the best Spanish beans I've ever had in my life, with plantains, everything very Spanish and pirate. We have our own galley master as part of our crew, and he did all the work. We bought all the food, and it was well worth it. There's a few things that will change for next year. And the worst part is, I'm not sure how I'm going to top the entertainment. Having two major bands, Rusty Cutlass and Tom Mason, the Blue Buccaneers, both on the same night on the same stage, I'm not sure how I'm going to top that yet. But we'll see what we can do. I'll start working on it now. It was a good time. We had a good time. I was very proud of the entire crew of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, stepping up when they needed to, helping out, trying to give breaks here and there when they could. And if any of the crew, I'll say this publicly, if any crew did not get a break, you're adults, speak up. I can't be there everywhere. We sometimes will miss things. We hope that nobody got their feelings hurt if we miss something. It was a good gig, though. I see Andrew Ratliff is on. He did 2 magic shows for us, and they were superb. I like his humor. I like his audience participation and his way with the audience. I was interested in watching the rope escape that he did, but then I got called away. After they got him tied up, but then I got called away. And since when I came back, he wasn't laying there dead on the ground with all the rope around him, I guess he got out. So he must have done the escape right.
He also did that invisible card trick, and he used our own Adam. And he said that was the best. So I got to ask moment for him.
Adam's online with us tonight also, but I got to ask Andrew. Andrew, did you know that the guy helping you with the invisible card trick was blind? Answer that if you get a chance, all right? Yes. So it was all of us crew were hilariously watching and laughing at while we could, because Adam played a very good part in making sure he knew what he was doing with the deck of cards. It was pretty funny, and it just went through my head that Andrew said he did before the second show. I see Robin Roundtree has just come on too. Very good. Andrew is amazing. Book him now. Yes, he is. Hey, Andrew, take that from a blind man thinking how good you are. Very good. It's good to have such great humor and great performers on the stage. And we may have to give Andrew a couple of extra slots on the stage, because he was really well received and people liked it. And I was impressed when he showed up and he upped his game of his pirate outfit. I was very, very, very impressed. So, Andrew, you're stuck. You'll have to just have a good time with us. His wife liked the invisible watch part, so I told them I would do it again. It's always great when you have people in the crowd you can have fun with. It makes for a much, much, much better performance anyway. I will never forget that routine the rest of my life. It was truly touching for me. Very good. We had great dancers. Miss Gina Marie and the Ancient City Sirens pirate female crew was there. And boy, she had a huge group of girls this year. So that was well worth it. And then we had the juggling of Mars Hooligan. And he missed his first spot, but he well made up for it the second time around, because he's also very good. And if he's in the area next year, I think we're going to have to give him some time. I think a couple of other things I want to do for entertainment. I want some entertainers in different parts of the property doing just small stuff off and around. I've got an idea for a close-up magician that's really good. I think Mars, the juggler, would be really good in some areas, and we'll just have to improve it. We had 14 vendors, 15 vendors, and all of them said they did well except for one, which was a surprise to me, but I can't make it work properly the whole way around. So it was a good event. I only had one parent complain, and because we didn't have a bounce house, he was upset with us. I'm not going to go into the conversation we had. but a bounce house does not make a pirate festival. Oh well. It was great. There was good rum. City Gates Distilleries provided us with some rum. What didn't get drank during the show? Well, guess what? Saturday night while I was sitting there, anybody wanted to come sit and have a shot with me? There it was. What else have I missed? The food was good. The entertainment was great. All of my pirates did a wonderful job. Oh, Authors Row. This year was the first time we really laid some grounds on Authors Row. We had 5 different people that have written books about local history or children's history or pirate history, and all of them were very happy with how it went out. And we may try to add a few more and have as many as 10 next year.
We'll give a shout out to the blacksmith. She was awesome.
Oh, yes, and our blacksmith. Now, I remember her as Taylor, but she's changed her name, and I couldn't pronounce it to save my life. So we're just going to say our blacksmith was wonderful. She had a good time. And from the Utah Pirates, Oliver was one of the Utah Pirates, and he has some hand in blacksmithing out in Utah. So he got to step into the blacksmith booth and do some work, too. In fact, he made me a gift. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I particularly like it. I thought it was interesting. We'll hold it up for the camera. Let's see, where's the camera? There it is. A really interesting design. I thought it was great. He gave me one last night when he was at the house around our fire circle relaxing. So definitely have told him if he wants to come back with 2 blacksmiths, I can do much, much more demonstrations. So it was well worth it. On that note, have I missed anything, Mr. Henley?
Nope, you're all up to date, Captain.
Should we tell anybody that the Navigator doesn't have a good navigation of his feet? We'll leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great event. We will be letting some of you know, or most of you know, exactly how good it went by us giving money to our charities, which we talk about here also. We missed the point on one thing, Mr. Davey, and we'll have to work on it next year. We really did not have a good representation for the Captain's Quarters podcast.
No.
We were all 3 there, but we didn't have any posters, anything up. We need to really do something about that.
Just the flag.
We'll figure it out down the road. We have a whole year now. On that note, one of the people that was there at the event was a guest here tonight. In fact, he will be sitting in that chair in just a minute. Do you have an introduction for him, or a poster or something, or we just have him walk in off camera?
I guess we just have him walk in.
Just have him walk in off camera. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Morrow. He is known for his pirate history, his knowledge of good pirate history. Come on in, Adam. Come on in. And we're going to have a toast, because here's the rum. There's yours. There's mine. And I said I'd tell you what it was. It's Bombarda. And I have 2 bottles of it, but we chose to open the 8-year-old and leave the 5-year-old for the cheaper people down the road. But both of them, what's really cool about them is they're shaped like cannons. The bottles are shaped like cannons, and that makes them pretty cool. And Adam gave me this one February this past year.
Yes, it was February last year at the Order of Leviathan induction.
Yep, and I promised that I would not open it until Adam and I had a chance to actually drink a shot together, and this is the night. I've already been sipping on mine, but Adam, there you go. Let's have a shot together.
Appreciate it.
Cheers to you, and welcome to my home, my Captain's Quarters studio.
Thank you.
Oh, it's actually pretty good rum. So while I've got Adam here, so I'll ask you a question, and hopefully it'll open the door.
All right.
Are you a representative of this company?
Yes, I am a brand ambassador of Bombarda Rum, and specifically the bottle that you have in your hand is not only aged 8 years, but is aged 8 to 15 years. Somewhere in that time frame. 8 is the bare minimum. Culverin, on the other hand, is between 5 to 8 years itself.
And that's this one here, right?
Correct.
So this is the Falconet, and this is the Culverin.
And Bombarda Rum, in general, it was inspired by cannons in general, hence the bottle shape. If you rotate on your side, as you displayed, it is very cannon-shaped. And the names of the different flavors as well are represented by, being named after historical cannons. What we're drinking from tonight is a Falconet cannon. Falconet cannons, they were created during the 1500s And around the mid-17th century, around 1630 or so, is when they finally made their way onto naval vessels, usually smaller vessels. I believe I've sent a picture of a falconet cannon. If you could bring that up, Davey. They're typically a smaller cannon. They're called a falconet. Back in the day, they named the types of cannons usually after animals of some sort. Falconet, of course, is referring to a falcon. And that is actually in reference to the fact that the type of shot that this thing would fire is about the size of a falcon if it were, dive bombing.
Wow, very interesting.
So that's falconet rum, falconet flavor of Bombarder rum. The rum itself is produced down in the Caribbean.
You want another shot?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, keep talking.
It's produced down in the Caribbean, and then the ingredients are shipped up to the Netherlands, where it's actually bottled up and then re-shipped back out. It's all produced down in Guyana, Guayaquil, Panama, Barbados. Different flavors are produced in different locations. But
well, it's got a great flavor to it.
Between the two, Falconet has let's just say, in general, from all the tastings I've actually performed, because as brand ambassador, I go to Total Wine, which is the only, carrier in the United States that actually carries Bombarder rum, aside from a few select bars along the coast of Florida. So I do tastings there, and typically the way that people feel about this is it's often described as almost a rum-whiskey hybrid.
Really?
Where typically Culverin is more of what you would traditionally expect from rum in general. Both of them are aged in oak barrels down in the Caribbean, and it really picks up that kind of oaky scent to it. However, the Falconet picks that up much more so. I've had people come up to me that were not, fans of rum in general, but they were whiskey people, but they loved this rum.
Well, that's good to know, because I have two of my crew members, although they're rye drinkers, they like rye. They might like this one too, and we won't be drinking the whole bottle tonight because I still need to get some rest.
Fair enough.
But it's very good rum, and didn't make me choke. That's always a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a great flavor, and there's no bad aftertaste, or there's no bad burn either. That's the nice part about it. And we're drinking at room temperature, ladies and gentlemen. We're not chilling it down. I always like to experiment and see what it's like if we chilled it. But
however, I have heard that it is very great on the rocks, just as a sipping rum in general. I've always been more of just a shots person. I chase it. And the other one, like I said, that is more of what you would traditionally expect from a rum. So usually really good for making cocktails. That being said, I've made some good mixed drinks using Falconet as well.
Well, they're good rums. They're really good rums. Is this the only two they make? Or do they have others?
There are a number of others. However, these are the two that you will find traditionally stocked at the Total Wines. Other ones are available only through the Bombarder Rum website. I believe they have a 15-year, which I think is called Drake Rum. Not necessarily just after Sir Francis Drake, but after Drake cannons as well. Another pre-Golden Age of Piracy cannon had some popularity. And then I believe there's also Sovereign flavor, which, if I'm remembering correctly, I haven't actually had a chance to try it out just yet, but there's an actual gold bottle, which is more exclusive, and again, you can only order it through the site. You'll never find it in stores.
It's probably more expensive then too.
Yes.
So, since both these bottles were gifts, I can't answer the question I'm going to ask now, but what is the price range of these two rums?
So the Culverin rum, I believe at Total Wine it sells for around 30, 31-ish. It's been a few months since I've actually been in there doing some tastings. I've had some issues with my back as of recent. And the Falconet, I believe, is around 44. Okay,
very good. That's always a good price point to make you judge your, although
it's meant to be one of the more top shelf rums. Another point real fast just about the Bombarder rum is another thing the brand prides itself on is the fact that the rums are not pumped full of any artificial sugars or anything. The only sweetness that you're actually getting is from the distillation process itself. So it's not pumped full and it's not sticky. It doesn't coat the back of your throat.
Oh, that's
which
good.
is supposed to help, it go down smooth and compete with some of the more higher shelf rums.
Well, very cool. Well, it's great rum. I'll hang on to the other one for another special occasion and enjoy that one. But they are good rums, and we're going to have to try some more of them. And I'll have to look them up, and we might try to get some of their information on our website. Yes, I said website, ladies and gentlemen. Captain's Quarters Podcast is going to have a website soon, and we'll be working that out and putting some things on there to have a good time with that. For now, though, one other thing that Adam Morrow is known for, and this is what his booth was, authentically created, and stop me if I'm wrong, but authentically created papers of importance during the pirate times. And there's one right there. I don't know what that one is.
Yep,
but
there we are. That is a Jamaican letter of marque. Based off of a 1715 letter of marque from Governor Archibald Hamilton's writings of his time as governor.
Adam did that for me, Captain.
Verbatim.
What's that?
He did that for me.
Oh, yeah?
I did.
Yes.
Well, I got a letter of marque also. Here's a letter of marque. I sent you a picture of it. Can you pop that one up? Oh, not that one, the other one. There you go. So there's a letter of marque that was made for me by Adam. He gave it to me last night at our fire circle. So explain this one then.
All right. So this one here, the design itself is based on a 1729 commission for a Spanish guardacosta. Essentially a Spanish privateer. For the most part, England was pretty problematic with interrupting trade and interrupting very much so logwood cutting down along the South American coast and over near Panama. However, essentially it is a Spanish privateer. This document itself, as mentioned, was originally issued out of Havana in Cuba. However, yours I have reworked to be issued by the governor of St. Augustine in 1705. And the document, theoretically, during that time period, would have allowed you to ply the waters off of Florida, Cuba, and in general, you were a privateer of St. Augustine.
Very cool. A privateer of St. Augustine. What's really interesting, one of our other pirates is a reenactor, and we were talking about, he goes, when he saw this, he goes, "You do understand it makes you a privateer for Spain?" And I said, "Yes, we're living in Spanish St. Augustine. I can be a Scottish pirate working for the Spanish, whoever has the best money, right?" But then he told me something else, and we talked about it for a few minutes. There was an unwritten agreement between the Spanish of St. Augustine and the British of Charleston, and they were doing some underhanded trade back and forth, unbeknownst to, obviously, their governments. So that would imply that this letter of marque means that I would have to be careful going against too many of the British.
Very much so.
Because if they were British out of Charleston, it could cause a wake in the problem. So I'm very proud of this. I might have to find me a little leather roll-up case or something and carry it around so I can show everybody that I indeed have a real letter of marque from the Spanish government of St. Augustine.
You have permission to exist in 1705 St. Augustine.
And it falls within the story that I wrote about William Mayhem. It's only a 2-page story, but one of these days I'll probably expand on it. That, he came here at the time that the British were around also, but he came here and opened up a casino.
Okay.
So the other thing he did, and I really like this, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to really display it in my room here. He did there it is, right there. He did a wanted poster for Captain William Mayhem right there, the notorious pirate. I'm a little disappointed because it says only 100 pounds. I thought I was worth more than that, but
it's about typical.
Yeah.
So The document itself is kind of based on the same exact way that a wanted poster was presented specifically in Cutthroat Island from 1997.
Which is my favorite movie is Cutthroat Island.
I really loved the movie growing up. At the time, I was 7 growing up. I was born in 1990, so I was right there when Muppets Treasure Island came out. And then immediately afterwards, Cutthroat Island. So I was exposed to both of those prior to Pirates of the Caribbean. But in general, yes, this document admittedly does look fairly correct. There are no surviving wanted posters, featuring visuals of individuals. So this is a bit inspired by a Hollywood type deal, but
it's on good paper too. Now you age the paper.
Yeah, so the paper itself is laid paper, which is the same type of paper that would have been used during the 17th and 18th century. And by default, it is a little bit off-white, but not enough so. So I typically go through an aging process. Your commission for Spanish Guardacosta went through some aging, but when it comes to wanted posters, I typically, really go in on it, try to make it look a little beat up, and spend some time out at the docks.
It even has the feel too. There's a texture to it.
There is a texture.
There's a texture. It's got weight, and it's really pretty cool, I think. And I want to make sure I figure out a way to hang this here in my pirate room somewhere. So I'm not sure where yet.
The texture is slightly different on either side. One of them, you can really make out the fact that it has lines that go across the paper.
Aye. And
those are called chain lines. It has to do with the paper making process back in the day of where they had a vat with all the pulp in it, and they would submerge a wooden platform along with cording that goes across it. And when it was lifted, it would drain out, and one of what was probably to them unfortunate side effect is it had the striation. It actually had the lines that go across the paper. But it's kind of a key factor for, old documents.
This is one of the reasons why many people talk about you, Adam, because you go into the details of creating what you create, and they do look really cool. I will have to say this, though. It does say that I'm wanted dead or alive. Mm-hmm. So I will tell any of you that if you're going to take me in dead, you're going to earn your £100. I'll tell you that right now. You'll earn your money. And this is His Majesty's Government of Jamaica.
Yes.
And this poster would be right around what time of what yearing? Early 1700s, late mid.
What do I have down at the bottom? It is in Roman numerals.
Yes.
It's
MDCC XIX. So that would be 6.
I'm trying to recall.
Never mind. I was terrible at Roman numerals. I still am.
I know what I'm doing. I swear.
No, it's really cool. I love it, and it even has the pinholes in it, as if it was just pulled down off of a wood fence or something.
So to make those holes, I actually have a wooden fence in my backyard, and I hold it up and actually hit a nail into the fence just to make it
very cool.
Tug it a little bit.
And the likeness is not bad. He's a handsome devil. He is. I'll tell you that. So it's really cool. But I'm very, very pleased. It's wonderful when I have people that give such consideration to give gifts. When they come and visit rum or these papers and these things, these kind of things mean something to me. They're special to me, and finding a place of honor in this house, and you've wandered through already. I don't have much wall space left.
I've realized.
I may have to hang it up on the back of me here.
As I mentioned, your room here is kind of like wandering through its own little museum.
It is. I mean, for those of you that have never seen it, we might do a video of it one day. But there's a section from my magic days in Las Vegas, and there's a bar, and it's just everything. Everything's here. I've never had a place where I could display all these things, that I'm quite proud of the things that I've done, and the studio and everything else. So if it sounds like it's bragging, it is. Because sometimes the things we do to bring us to the point we're at needs to be talked about and shared with people.
Agreed.
Because it makes for better lessons along the way. But thank you very much for these. I'm really impressed. I've always wanted to have some.
He did one for Mason too.
All right, Captain. He gave me a pardon for acts of piracy.
Wow, if I ever see that, I'll rip it up. You don't deserve a pardon.
You don't have to adhere to it. As long as you have it, you got off scot-free at the moment that you got it, but you can go right back to piracy, by all means.
No, yeah, listen, I just have to be a good sailor until I can get my letters unmarked, but I haven't found a lad who's, been willing enough to sign the papers.
Right. That's the hard part.
Oh, it is. Very good. So, how long have you been doing these papers?
So far, at the moment, I've really been doing it for about maybe 13 months or so. I believe I began shortly, either during or after December of 2021. It was right before the Order of Leviathan induction event last year. Because when I came down with a pardon for piracy that I had custom created for someone attending the festival. I'm somewhat bad at names.
That's all right. That's all right. So am I.
There's so many people in the pirate community.
The pirate community is vastly grown.
Vast.
I mean, we started doing pirating. I started doing pirating in 2007, and there might have been 12 pirates in town.
Okay.
Now there and 2 crews, maybe 20 pirates total, and then all of a sudden, now as of like the turn of the year here. There's like 6 crews in the area and a good 200 pirates in the area.
Right.
So it's an amazing thing. We had some of those pirates come and honorably support us through our event this past weekend, which raises money for several of our charities, and we'll be bragging about them towards the end of the show. So what got you started into the idea of pirating? Because you do other characters also.
So when it comes down to it, bottom line is, as aforementioned, I was born in 1990. I was 4 years old when Lego started doing their whole pirate line. I was 5 with Muppets Treasure Island, 7 with Cutthroat Island. Throughout my teenage years, the interest was kind of kept alive by Pirates of the Caribbean. Early into my 20s, there was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Black Sails came out, and that was a huge deal, at least for me. And then the turning point was in 2018. The crux of everything was basically, unfortunately, my mother passed away. She passed away about maybe 3 days, I want to say, before my birthday. It was not a great birthday, suffice to say. And I got some birthday money, and I'm like, I don't really know what to do with this. I don't really want anything. But I did find out just from turning on my Xbox at some point in time that someone was playing a game called Sea of Thieves. I was like, you know what, I don't really care about what's happening in real life right now. Let's just get away from it. And I bought that game, and I just invested myself into it. And when I wasn't playing the game, I was like, what can I do outside of that? So I really started investing myself into the history of where I'm from. Originally, I'm from Michigan, but for the last, I believe, 16 years now, I have lived in Charleston. And Charleston, which I previously knew had a ton of pirate history, I finally decided to just envelop myself in and figure out as much as I could about everything. And in general, Charleston doesn't really... I wish it did. I wish it cared more about history prior to 1776. But as far as the tourism community of Charleston, history begins at 1776.
Yeah, that's kind of like the history of the United States of America for 49 states out of 50 begin with the 1660s,
Right.
when England comes here, completely eliminating any thought of the 100 years plus that Spanish were already here. And making their way across the entire continent.
Right.
So it's when they say history is written by the winners, sometimes I would disagree with that because I think history is just written by whoever gets a chance to do it at times.
Definitely.
But Charleston has a great history.
It does.
As does Tybee Island, Savannah. Boston has a pirate history.
Yeah.
All along the eastern seaboard.
Right. I've kind of unofficially done a few tours of the Charleston area to people that have come in, people that were aware of my existence from, just being online running my Shipwreck with Captain Morrow page. They would be like, hey, I'm coming down. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's meet up. And, I take them around and show them everything in town. And I haven't quite, pledged myself into becoming a tour guide for the town just yet.
Do you do it in gear?
I do it in gear.
Very good. Well, I might just have to go take a visit to Charleston.
Yes, if you would like to come to Charleston, I would.
We'll go for a run.
Give you a tour.
I'd love that. I really would. It would be a lot of fun. I enjoy dressing in garb. Sometimes I enjoy it because the acceptance is really cool. Because people are like, "Wow, I didn't know that," or this.
So far today, I want to say that I've had just being on vacation down here in the St. Augustine area, down in Daytona and beyond. Because earlier this morning we went down to the Blue Springs to go see the manatees.
Yep.
I guess there was a record number of them over this weekend there. Just in general, I want to say I probably had like maybe 15, 20 people actually take photographs of me out and about and talk to me, and I got a chance to explain what I'm doing. And just in general, yes, everyone loves seeing a pirate. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're on a gas station, if you're on a beach, like everyone loves it. So it's a good feeling.
What is the time frame of the character that you portray then? Because your hat is different. Most of the time, the pirates are in their tricorns, but yours is more of a cavalier, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I initially started getting into all of this, I really shot for around the 1715 period. The typical, Charles Vane, Jack Rackham, all that stuff. I really went the tricorn route. And the more and more that I learned about history, the more that I realized that I really love the buccaneering age. Everything that happened post Queen Anne's War, all those people became famous because they were very much so popularized by the news. However, all the things that they actually did out at sea, while impressive in their own right, especially depending on who you're looking at, the actual events that occurred during the buccaneering age, it's so epic.
Yeah.
And it unfortunately isn't as popular as those characters that received all the actual publication during newspapers during the time period, and not just Henry Morgan, like Lawrence de Graaf and Bartholomew Sharp and all of those. So that kind of led me to being more interested in pre-1700, around 1680 to 1700. I really love that time period.
And the buccaneering time starts really probably right around the very end of the 1660s into the 1680s.
About, yes.
And Morgan was considered a buccaneer.
Of course.
And of course he's in the 1680s. Mm-hmm. Sharp, Francis Launay.
Yes.
Those were all buccaneers, and they were in the 1680s.
Yeah, speaking of him, I long to have a clamshell cutlass.
Ah.
That's one of the things I've been, looking for going forward when it comes to garb, is I really want a clamshell.
Well, I'd have to see what we can do about helping you on that. So I've been doing this since 2007. I've enjoyed it. If I showed you pictures of me first being a pirate, I'd be embarrassed of them anyway. But
everyone's garb changes over time, and
it does.
It evolves.
In fact, it's one of the things I tell people when they come up and they say, "Hey, I want to be a pirate too. How do I get all that great clothing?" I say, "You don't. You have to work to it."
Yep.
And my all-time suggestion is you go to thrift stores, you go to secondhand shops.
I actually have a confession. The shirt that I'm wearing is actually a shirt that I got for $1 from a thrift store.
There you go.
And it was off-white to begin with, but as I have worn it pretty consistently over the last 4 years, it is definitely, kind of yellowed and is very off-white by this point in time. It's got the nice frills along the front of it that very much so looks like what is very appropriate for buccaneering age.
No, your outfit.
And it's 100% linen.
Even
it's happy with that.
And your facial hair goes to buccaneer style too.
I'm very much so a fan of kind of like the goatee look, the curled mustache,
right.
And
a lot of people don't
like
understand when we talk about pirates at the Pirate and Treasure Museum. We do talk about the raid of St. Augustine by Sir Francis Drake was 1586.
Right.
And we talk about, and that was the worst raid that ever happened to St. Augustine. Second worst was probably Robert Siddals, a Welsh pirate. That was 1668.
68. Yes.
68. So here's how I always remember it: 1586, 16 68. The last two numbers are always transposed, so that always keeps me straight. So, and I tell people on the tour, if you were to come here to St. Augustine, and those two are reenacted here in St. Augustine, but if you were to come here, stand on the street corner and watch the reenactment as it's happening, some people would probably just walk away and shake their heads in disgust. No, those aren't pirates.
Right.
Because everybody's ingrained to that Pirate of the Caribbean look, which the Jack Sparrow and the Pirates of the Caribbean all was around the 1712 to 1720.
Or even 1750 in some cases.
Yes. So it's, and the golden age of piracy ends in the 1720s, really.
But pirates do continue, especially over in the Indian Ocean afterwards, after they were driven out of the Caribbean. And the pirates still exist to this day.
Yes, and I have children that ask all the time, do pirates still exist? And I tell them, for the most part, the reason that many of us glorify, for lack of a better word, the pirates of this time frame is because, yes, they were criminals. Some of them were pretty dastardly, but they had a code.
Sometimes.
But their code was one of the things that made them stand out. And the ones that had a code were the more successful ones. But the pirates that you have today, they're just thugs. They don't really exist by code, and they have no compulsions to pirates in the time frame that we talk about. There was a certain amount of honor amongst thieves.
Right.
There isn't now with these pirates now, and that's one of the bigger things. But probably the most important thing about the pirates of the golden age of piracy, 1600s into the 1700s, is what they brought to the world was the concept of what democracy really was. And that's what they brought to the world, to the New World.
Not to mention that current pirates, let's just say their overall aesthetic is terrible.
Yes.
This looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we look good.
There's not too much appeal in running around with a tank top and an AK-47.
Yeah, there's a whole big difference.
There's a little bit of a glamour thing to this.
Yeah. And
people appreciate that.
And I mean, if you look, the movies have always glorified the bad boys. You know, you got the gunfighters of the 1880s, you got the bikers of the 1950s and 60s, and, you know, Easy Rider, and you can name all these different movies.
Everyone loves anti-heroes.
That's it. Everybody glorifies the anti-hero, the bad guys, and even though some of them were really bad, they were pretty well done up in movies to be quite interesting lifestyles.
Appealing.
Yes, very much so.
There's a concept of like pushing freedom of what you want to do and not being oppressed by others, and that's always part of like the whole the bad boy aesthetic.
Absolutely.
People like that about it.
And it's just hilariously funny that's pirate movies are very entertaining. Mm-hmm. Pirate history is very interesting. And interesting doesn't equate to a movie.
It does
Entertaining equates to a movie. So the liberties that they take with pirates standing around and drinking until they can't stand up. Of course, it happened, but everybody drank rum. It was a commodity.
That wasn't all they did.
No, it wasn't all they did. So it was always an interesting lifestyle.
And not every pirate or buccaneer's life was necessarily movie worthy. Some of them just straight up would not work. I'm still surprised that there's not a more recent adaptation of, just an example, Henry Morgan's life. Like, his life was incredibly interesting. And for that matter, I'm surprised that there hasn't been a very big budget, like blockbuster Blackbeard movie as of like maybe the last 10 or 12 years. It seems like that is something that would adapt really well into a gritty adaptation. Of course, not historically accurate. No one would ever do that.
Yeah, historically accurate when it comes to the pirates. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, at least the first two, they were in the ballpark.
Somewhat, yes. I believe I've looked into it in the past. When it comes down to it, I believe the first movie is roughly meant to be around 1729, 1728 or so. And the most recent movie, Dead Men Tell No Tales, is almost like 1752 or 1753 or something like that. There's a 20-year span between the 5 movies. And all of it is basically post-Golden Age of Piracy. It's all, piracy is over here. What are you guys still doing here in the Caribbean?
So it's a very interesting concept, and it's a great way, as a teacher or somebody that provides education, like all the tours we do in the Pirate Museum. The hook is the outfits, the character. It's also, I've used magic to teach people too, and the hook is the magic. Once you get the attention of your audience, and it's easier to teach.
And that's a big thing for me, is like, I really do appreciate some of the reenactors who go really hard into it, but I try my best to walk somewhat of a fine line. Like, I want to definitely get the attention of people. I'm hoping that, like, once people are interested, like, oh, look at him, and I can rope them into, like, real history.
Yes, it is a good hook.
Like, not everything I have here is, 100% appropriate. The breeches that I have on right now are a what's the word for the fly that opens with the two buttons? It's not
French.
Well, the French fly is the vertical.
Oh wait,
I have those as well, but I like the color
breeches.
Browns. Yeah, so I have that. I have the bucket boots, and the bucket boots they did exist during the time period, and they certainly were used by the Buccaneers, especially when traipsing through the jungles of, like, going after Maracaibo and so on. I got the Cavalier style hat. This is pretty appropriate. The cut, I believe, of my waistcoat is 1730, however, but, for the most part, the public don't really nitpick about all that.
No, the only ones that nitpick are staunch historical reenactors. So
that being said, as of recent, I've actually started. I didn't necessarily start it up. I am a founding member of a reenactment crew now, based out of Charleston. We are called the Charles Revenge, and our first educational event is actually this upcoming Friday and Saturday at Wormslow Plantation, which is just south of Savannah, Georgia. We're going there portraying sailors from around the 1730s or so. I'm definitely changing this out for tricorn. We'll be teaching to children and the general public, and that's our first educational event coming up. We're trying to portray sailors out of Charlestown who are basically just ready to do their own thing and dip their toes into piracy.
That sounds like a lot of fun. You'll have to let us know how it went.
So as soon as I get back from St. Augustine, which should be late tomorrow night or on Wednesday, immediately afterwards I'm back out to Georgia to do historical teaching stuff.
Well, very cool, very cool. And as much as we'd like to keep talking all night, we should probably do a couple of other things in the show. What do you say, yes, Mr. Navigator? How about, let's see, looking at my scripting here, how about, do you have a jibjab? So that's what I would have looked like. You find that hilariously funny, don't you, Mr. Longwood? Yes, very good. So we always like to do the history of the week.
There's a lot.
And have a few comments to make along the way. So let's start. I'm going back to the beginning now. Let's see. Mike Johnson is here. Hi, welcome aboard. Adam Lemons. He's our good pirate crew from over in Tampa, but part of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. Mike is from Brethren of the Coast, the Privateers in Virginia. Welcome aboard, my friend. I hope you'll tune in with us on a regular basis. It's not always about pirates here. It just depends on what we're doing. Christy Thomas is there. Very good. Facebook user Janice is watching. Janice who? Who is that? I'd be interested to know. And there's Ransom Mayhem. He's over there in Panama City Beach. And our good friend Jim Neuenfeld is there. Bring on the rum, of course. And there's Danelle Everhart. She is part of the Elks Pirate Crew. I'm going to get the numbers wrong. 829. I hope that's the right number. Nightingale in Florida, welcome aboard. We always like to make sure everybody is given some mention on the show. Erica Chapul from Michigan. All right. Good. And Stead is here. Welcome aboard, everyone. Let's see. They also announced, and Jim, from our good friend Jim there, announced that Cindy Williams just passed away. They just announced it minutes before our show, so we did not get her in there. But I still have a little rum there, so a bell or two in our mind, because she was known by a lot of people. So the passing of Cindy Williams is noted so. Who else do we have here? Zachary Harker. We both wing it, but we both enjoy the 15th, which is Discount Chocolate Day. Now, I like that thought. And Mr. Harker, Mr. Harker, our guest, Mr. Morrow here, has something he'd like to say to you real quick.
Basically, as you are aware, I am from South Haven, Michigan, which, for those of you who don't know, if you hold up your palm like this, this is the shape of Michigan, about over here. I believe we're from the same location. At some point in time, I would love to finally come back home and see Michigan again. And when I do, I would love to get a chance to meet you.
Very good, very good. That's one of the things that Facebook and the pirate community upon Facebook has done well.
You and the Silver Crew.
Aye,
Silver
that's
Moon
it.
Crew.
Silver Moon Crew they are.
Zachary also sent us a timeline, Captain.
Oh, very good. I like that. Make sure I get a copy of that. Sent over to me. Thank you very much. Let's see. Mr. Neuenfeld said that he plans Valentine's because it's his anniversary. I understand that. And Will the historian, that's my son, he just decided to plead the fifth. That's a smart move. You know what they say? Hey, we wing it, Nightingale in Florida, we wing it because of our occupations, both past and present. We haven't had too many Valentine's days together. Yep, I do understand that. Andrew Ratliff came on board. Let's see, Christy Thomas, Zachary Harker. Says it looks like it was a fantastic Saturday. It was a wonderful Saturday. Mr. Morrow is here to back me up on that. He had a good time too.
It was a great time.
And believe it or not, quite a few of the out-of-towners came to my house last night. We sat around my fire circle, drank rum. We finished off at least 2 bottles of rum last night and sang songs. The more we drink, the better we sound.
I got video footage.
Aye.
I'm looking forward
Chad
to
Cook is the new captain of Ancient City Privateers. He had a booth there. He says he had a grand time and was very successful. And a big thanks from Captain Silverbeard. You're most welcome. I hope this is the start of maybe some good possibilities down the road. You never know what could happen. The concert, Nightingale in Florida, the concert was fantastic. It was so much fun. How can it not be fantastic? We had Rusty Cutlass, the Disney Pirate Band, and Tom Mason and the Blue Buccaneers, internationally known as a pirate should be. Let's see, we were talking about Andrew's great rendition of The Invisible Deck, and I see Robin Roundtable has made it here. Machete did a great job, giving him kudos too. Machete is my right hand. He is my protector. Aye.
And he assisted in setting up my booth.
Yes, he did.
Helping me unload and such. So thank you.
He's a very, very worthy young lad to be a part of our crew. We're lucky to have him. Let's see. Christina Kaplan. It's good to see you too. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing here. Chad Cook, thanks again for the gift. Love the shirts. I'm going to tell everybody what it was. When we were getting ready for Old City Pirate Festival, I have a bin in the garage that's filled with T-shirts from all our past events. Sometimes we just can't sell them. So we decided to take them. Well, at the bottom of the bin were 3 T-shirts from the very first Pirate Gathering, 2008. Can't get them anywhere anymore. And so I gave one to Chad and one to his quartermaster as a gift and a thank you and a congratulations for becoming the new captain of Ancient City Privateers. And I kept the 3rd one for myself, and I'll figure out a way to cut it up and put it up on my wall somewhere, or my ceiling, I don't know. I told my wife I'm going to start hanging things from the ceiling, and she got mad at me, so we'll see what happens. See? There it is. Just the voice of Goddess has just sung out with a big no. So let's see. Ransom Mayhem says he's been trying to get this rum over in Panama City, and he can't get it. Is that because you mentioned a store that has it? What is it?
It is Total Wine specifically. I believe they have a very specific deal between Bombarder Rum and Total Wine as being like the only retail store that can actually carry it. There are a number of bars that actually carry Bombarder Rum, but they are along like the Florida Keys, from my understanding, or at least down near Miami. Something like that.
We'll see what we can do. I will say, maybe I'll save this bottle right here for the next time my brother is over here in town.
However,
Ransom Mayhem.
If you do go to the website, they can ship it out to you, though.
All right, very good. So we'll see what we can do. My brother is coming over to Panama City here in February because we'll be laying my father's headstone. He passed away in November, and we'll be laying his headstone in the family cemetery here in St. Augustine. So my brother will be over here, and I have such a hectic schedule. I won't be doing tours during that part of the time, but I may have to go to the museum. We'll see what happens. Let's see. 100 pounds, definitely not enough. Thank you, Nightingale. I'm glad somebody else said so. And what an insult, she says. I couldn't agree with you more. I think I've been insulted. 100 pounds. My goodness. I drink 100 pounds of rum. That doesn't sound right, but it's funny. All right. And Christina Kaplan, I have to read this. You are the only person I have heard that loves Cutthroat Island. That was my first pirate movie, and I adore it. Let me tell everybody why it's such a great pirate movie. 3 reasons, and this I tell everybody. Reason number 1, Gina Davis. Reason number 2, Gina Davis with red hair. Reason number 3, Gina Davis with red hair wearing a corset. You could put Gina Davis in any movie wearing a corset, and it would be a pirate movie for me. I so really do adore her. She's taken a turn for the worse, though. I'm not a real fan of her politics all of a sudden. But I try not to judge entertainers based on their politics. I prefer to judge entertainers based on their talent.
And their performances.
And their performances. I do not care about their politics, and I really think entertainers should keep that to themselves. We don't care. We really don't. That being said, let's move on. Let's see. I see a couple of more people talking about Black Sails and Cutthroat Island. Good. The more people we turn on to Cutthroat Island, maybe they'll make a sequel. That's been a while, though.
It would be something.
Yeah, it would. I also saw, Adam, the monkey too, sneaking into the picture there. I saw that. If anyone needed a pardon, it was probably the powder monkey. Yes. If you had a wanted poster with a powder monkey on it, the reward would probably be in bunches of bananas. Yes. Let's see.
He's a rotten egg, that one.
Yes. Christina Kaplan says, Galaga, Pirate Life? If you catch that, give me an explanation of that one real quick, because I am unaware. Let's see. Donna Bogus says that the powder monkey has suffered enough living with her. That's because she should keep him in a cage, and she doesn't. Yeah, I like the joke that Jim put on there that everybody knows Donna's the top banana. That might be the problem of your accident, Mr. Longwood. Did you step on a banana peel? This is wonderfully fascinating. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but oh well.
Just
don't
in
tell.
general.
Yes, don't tell the Somalians that piracy is dead. They will be unemployed. As well they should be. As well they should be. We love talking to everybody and getting your comments and sharing them. It just makes for a better show. One of these days when we get so many people we can't do this, we'll just have to figure out what to do. Maybe we'll print a book on a weekly basis or something. But I think one good thing about Pirates of the Caribbean movies was how differently dressed the pirates were and their diversity as pirates, because they all came from so many different parts of the countries, or so many different countries. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, very much so. When it came to Barbossa and them, he was very much more so a Buccaneer style.
Yep.
Very kind of akin to my hat, whereas Jack was definitely more of a 1715 through 1720 type pirate and so on. Like they all came from different periods of time.
Yep, absolutely. This one I'm hesitant to read, but I'll read it anyway. Christina Kaplan says that Captain Morrow, you are a cool dude. Following you on Facebook, and I didn't miss this live stream. Well, I'm glad you didn't miss the live stream. And if it's only because I got Captain Morrow here, well, you're sadly going to be disappointed because I'm not bringing him back right away.
Ow.
Aye. I sent Longwood a timeline poster I've been working on that shows some of the 18th century history, historical, and those through TV and movies. I will be interested in looking at that even in a more closely set up where I can actually read it without having to worry about glasses. Local to St. Augustine, so Captain Mayhem, you are the captain of this old city, and it's always a pleasure to see you out and about on the street, sir. Thank you for this live stream. Well, Christina, I hope that you will continue to watch us because every week it's different. And since you're local to St. Augustine, I will give you a heads up. We've gotten a yes, we just have to work on the date. The sheriff of St. Johns County would like to be on our show, and I'm working on all three of the guys from 904, but I'm not bringing them on at the same time. I'm going to bring them on one at a time so I can beat up on each one of them. Pardon me, my friends, pardon me. Christina Kaplan says, Captain Neon, my husband, and I, Mermaid Mookie, and Mama will be tuning in to these podcasts. It's so pirate life for us. Well, I'm glad you will be, and maybe you can come and be a part of some of our shows and some of our events. I'm actually making plans to do my acting seminar, which I only do about once a year. We're making plans to pick a weekend in April to do it, so we'll see what happens. Walter Cronkite was a true journalist. Wish we had him now. You're absolutely right. Ransom Mayhem. Adam, would like to talk to you about being at our event in October.
Okay.
All right. That would be the Pirates of the High Seas event. St. Augustine Swashbucklers sends about 10 to 15 pirates there every year. But he also has some of the pirates from up along the coast. Loose Cannons, I believe, and some of the others. And Harker says he's up for a meeting anytime. Just name it.
Yes.
We have no Total Wine there in Panama City. Of course not, because it's a redneck town.
Unfortunately, they're not everywhere.
Let's see. Anything else? Paulo De Niro has come onto the show. We need a movie based on Grace O'Malley's life. Although there was a Broadway musical called The Pirate Queen. Christina Kaplan says, Galaga, what you call a woman, village person of Spain. My family is from a small village in Galicia, Spain. Okay, hopefully I'm pronouncing all that right. Going over again, good show. There it is. William Venazio. That is the St. Augustine Swashbucklers ship's galley master. He was the man behind all the food. And I got to tell you, mate, other than the long line, which you and I talked about, there is not one complaint about the food. In fact, I had some of the chicken and ham paella for dinner. I ate the last of it for dinner tonight. It is wonderful as a leftover. Now, I will plead this. I threw some daddle pepper sauce in mine because I kind of like spice. But we enjoyed the feast. It was wonderful. Your choice of cheese, the bread, you did nothing wrong. It was great, and I think we're going to have to figure out what to do for next year now. And we'll work far enough in advance to have some fun with it. Ransom Mayhem says he resembles that remark. I'm sure it had something to do with the rednecking. Yes. And shout out from the swashbuckler formerly known as Captain Scallywag, bringing pirate food for all the pirates by pirates. Absolutely right. His food is great. He has a taco that is named after me. It's a corned beef taco. Yeah, it's pretty doggone good. All hands wanted to eat all at once. Yeah, that was the problem too. We'll figure that one out for next year, Mr. William. But your food was excellent. The event was great. Mr. Longwood, what do you say? Was it a good event?
I think so.
All right, it was. Mr. Henley, what do you think?
Aye, indeed, Captain.
It was. It was a lot of fun. And those that could not make it, we missed you. We're sorry you couldn't be there. And those of you that didn't make the effort to come out, your loss. It was a great event.
And I would also like to thank Mr. Henley here for assisting me when it came to setup of my booth and so on and so forth.
He didn't stand around and talk your ear off, did he?
A little bit while we were doing the setup, but it's all good.
My pleasure, mate.
So it's always good to see you.
Very good.
I could talk the ears off a donkey if you let me.
There you go. There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good show, and I guess we need to do the little things that we have to do to say thank you at the end. We're making some decisions on changes for the show because we've done so well with getting people a part of our show that we're finding out that there's a few things we've done wrong over the last year. Who would know? And we're learning new things all the time. And I say that because she's not watching tonight, but our good friend Mandy Brown from out in Utah has been very helpful in giving us some suggestions on moving us forward towards monetizing what we do. We may not be that far away from it, so we're hoping. We'll see what happens. On that note, let's skip new on the horizon there, Mr. Davey, because we don't have anything of note right now. So let's go with show sponsors. Right now, it's Scarlet Deer Heart and Shiver Me Pictures, Dick's Wings, the Ancient City Sirens, Paper and Strings, Colonial Oak, and of course the Pirate and Treasure Museum. We're starting new sponsorship. We were always talking about January to January, but because January becomes such a big month for us for Old City Pirate Festival, we've decided to move our sponsorship from February to February every year to make it a little easier for us because of everything else we're doing. So if you'd like to be a part of our show and be a sponsor, we have some great sponsorship packages. We'd love to have you send us a message and see what we can do to get you involved. On that note, crew support. It takes a ship, or it takes a crew to run a ship. And W. Mayhem Productions, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, the Powder Monkey, and of course, Mr. Longwood, Mr. Henley, and Captain Mayhem. We have to have all of us here working together, and we do well. We have a good time. Although I will admit, Mr. Longwood does the bulk of the hard work. He really does. But he's young. He can handle it. How about our charities, Mr. Davey? We give money to Inc. every year, more than once a year, though. Whenever we have an event, we always like to give them a portion. The Humane Society we like to support. We'll probably do some kind of a food run or a food gathering here shortly. And, of course, St. Augustine Youth Services that take care of youth in a fostering type program. We're there to help them out as we can. We usually save up the money that we're using for them or earning for them and then do something really huge for them for Christmas. And this year it's going to be a big Christmas for them, so we'll see what happens. Patreon. There's the QR code. You can go on Patreon and be a part of our support team. We have two support amounts. One is $1 a month, called the Powder Monkey, and the other is the First Mate. We obviously have 13 Patreon supporters. We have 6 sponsors, and we've gone up to 411 subscribers. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm told that's a good number for a year's worth of work. And if we figure out some of the other things that we need to improve and upgrade in our show, we may be able to jump that up even higher quickly. So we'll see what happens. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I can't think of anything else to say. Mr. Longwood, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
No.
Well, I do want to make sure that our good friend here gets one of our gifts. We always like to give all of our guests on the show one of our podcast coins. I don't have the one with the key on it, but I'm going to give you that instead. It's got our sign out on the back. It's a $100 poker chip. It's not worth $100, but it is a poker chip that you can carry around. And if you're ever in St. Augustine and you want to whip it out, the coin that is, it could be worth a drink for you.
All right.
All right.
I appreciate it.
We thank you very much for being a part of us.
And anyone who's, watching here, because I've kind of advertised for it a little bit, if you're not a regular subscriber, go ahead and click subscribe. This is a really good way to keep in touch with what's happening down here in Florida, the pirate community as a whole, and I definitely recommend the podcast here.
And we appreciate that. We truly appreciate that. And it is great to have such great listeners, great watchers, and you never know what we're going to improve on. But we hope that you will continue to watch us and be our fans. So, Mr. Longwood, kick her out.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always, without you, we can't do it. Thank you very much, our fans, our followers, and friends. Aye.